In 1978, after a year of designing graphics and gameplay, programming, and even designing and building the hardware needed to develop and play the game, Tomohiro Nishikado completed the game that would reinvent video games and alter the course of all electronic interactive entertainment: Space Invaders. The important thing to realize is that Tomohiro Nishikado created the entire game by himself, even the hardware. As he once put it, "It was a very difficult process. The hardest part was the development of the microcomputer. Microcomputers were hardly used at that time in Japan, so we had to create one from scratch. I could almost say developing the microcomputer was harder than developing the game itself. These days, we have personal computers to rely on, but there was no programming environment back then. So, I had to create everything by myself. I created a development device, wrote a part of the game that runs on it, and then created more devices along the way." Space Invaders was one of the first shooters, so even the concept of shooting at something was relatively new back then. Even coming up with the iconic alien ships was a tricky task. According to Nishikado, "It was not an easy job. First I thought of making tanks or airplanes as the targets to shoot, but it was technically hard to make the airplanes look like they were actually flying. Human movement would have been easier, but I felt it would be immoral to shoot humans, even if they were bad guys. Then I heard about a movie called Star Wars released in the US, which was coming to Japan next year, so I came up with a game based in space, which had space aliens as targets. Ported onto the Atari 2600 in 1980, this is the game that saved the system. Even though there were other arcade ports for home game consoles, none were this good. Anything else I say is going to be fanboy gushing, so I'll put it this way. I even have a Space Invaders Ice Cube tray. I'm the Dork with No Name, and I'll be back next time for the last game in this marathon.